Hello everyone, welcome back to our CodeIgniter 4 tutorials. In this session, we are going to work with form validations by using validation library. CodeIgniter 4 is providing a library to validate the form data. This class will always help us to minimize the amount of code that we are going to write to form validations. If you already work with core PHP form validations, you know how much of time we have to spend on the validations to validate email ID, to validate mobile number, to validate password and confirm password. But if it is a CodeIgniter 4, we don't want to spend much time on the validations. We have a simple set of rules and regulations are available in CodeIgniter 4, and let us see how can we apply these rules on our input form fields and how can we render the error message into the front end based on the user input. Let us see into the action. To work with this validation, first I need to create a view with the required form fields. Later I have to load that view into my controller. After loading the view into your controller, it is going to render the form into the front end. Once you submit the form with the data or without data, I have to validate the form. If the form is valid, I have to send the data to database. If form contains any invalid data, I have to display those errors into the front end. CodeIgniter 4 is providing a method, validate method. So we have to define some rules and regulations. Those rules and regulations we have to pass to this validate method. That validate method will take care. If all the validation rules are okay, then the validate method will return true. If it is true, form validated successfully. If it is returning false, form is not validated properly. So some errors are there. You missed some of the required fields. That is the meaning of the validate method. If you already work with CodeIgniter 3, there is a run method, there is a set rules method. Set rules method to define the rules, run method to check all the rules are valid or not. But those methods are not available in CodeIgniter 4. In place of them, we have validate method. Did you see here? We have to take the rules like this: name of the input field and the rule, email. This is the name of the input field and the required rules are available in our CodeIgniter 4. CodeIgniter 4 is mentioning some of the rules and regulations in their manual. We can check the rules later, guys, don't worry. This is how. What are the rules you want to define on the rules and just pass to this validate method. That validate method will take care all the rules are valid or not. If valid, form will be submitted. Otherwise, we have to display error message into the front end. Let us see into the action. Let me create I have already a controller, so I just created a controller, users controller. So in this I just written some method. So for this I'm just going to load a view. This is a view. The view name is my form. This is available in views folder and this is your controller. Let me load the view into our controller first. Return, we have a global function view. To this, pass the name of the view. What is the name of the view? My form. That's it. Let us go and execute this. Right, can you refresh the form? If you can refresh, this is form validation. I didn't have the form actually. Right, now we have to create the form definitely, right? So how can we create the form here? So in this I'm going to create the form. Definitely we have to add the form tag open, form tag close. For every form should be inside this form tag. In CodeIgniter 4 I have form validation library. So form validation helper. So by using this helper I can create form tag. Can you see how we are going to create form underscore open? This is going to generate the form tag open, form tag close automatically. We don't want to write form tag and we don't want to provide any action or method and accept char type, and are not required. This method will take care of each and everything. Now just you can go and refresh the browser and check the output. You are going to see. Right, I'm having error. Why you are having error? Because we didn't load the helper related to form helper. If you want to use any form helper method, first of all helper should be loaded, right? So always try to load the helpers into the constructor, public function underscore construct. It is recommended. So we have a global function helper, helper. Helper is a global function. In this I'm just going to load the form helper. Right now, as of now, I require form helper only. Later, I don't know, based on the situation, we are going to load the helpers, load the libraries and load the remaining databases and all, guys. Right now I required form helper, I loaded. Now can you see, earlier we have error, definitely now it is going to generate the form tag. Can you see, form tag is created. So if you want, you can write this form tag you written, right? Form open you written. If you want, you can write form close also, no problem. So otherwise form close is enough. If you want, you can write form open is enough. If you want, you can write form close also, no problem. Nothing difference is there inside. So both are going to be form tag open, form tag close. Now I have to create the form. What are the form fields you require now? Keep them into the form open, form close. So now I have already a skeleton, small skeleton with HTML. This is a HTML form with a username, with the email, with a mobile. Let us copy the skeleton and you can prepare the form meanwhile. Right, this is the form I have. So can you see the form field? Username with a username text box, email text box, as well as mobile text box. Every text box has an attribute called name. It is very important. Based on the name only we are going to process. Based on the name only we are going to validate the form. If you want to display validation errors, the name attribute is going to be very important. Please take a name attribute for every input field. Now just refresh the page and you can see the output of the form. Can you see? The form output is going to be, this is the form. I want to validate the username, email, mobile number. To validate the form, we have validate method. To validate the form, so we have to define some validation rules, right? Those rules we have to pass to our form validate method. Let us see how can we validate the form. Go to your controller. So here, this is my form. So to this form, I have to define some validation rules. Let me define an array, associative array, rules array. You can take any name of the array, that could be anything. What are the form fields you want to validate? So based on the text box name, I want to validate username. Copy this username text box name and keep it as a key of the associative array, key username. What are the rules you want to apply on this input field? I want to apply just required field. Slowly I will show you one by one. So first let me validate all the fields required attribute. So let us go with all the fields. Second field is going to be email, third field is going to be mobile. So this is going to be email and this is going to be mobile. So I define the validation rules. How to apply these validation rules? To apply these validation rules, we have a method, validate method. This is available in the base class. See, this validate method is available in the base class, guys. We don't want to go anywhere. So we don't require to load the validation library. This method is available in the base controller. So we don't want to go for it, guys. Just you can inherit it. So by using this keyword. This method is going to return true if the validation rules are okay. I mean, all the fields are entered with the data. This is going to be written true. If not entered, this is going to be written false, right? So let us write one condition. So I have to keep this always into a condition. If all the form data is valid, so get the data, send the data into database. If validation rules are not okay, then we have to display error messages, right? How can we send the error messages to the view? So here, if it is a CodeIgniter 3, there is a validation errors method, but in CodeIgniter 4, we don't have validation errors and all. So how we are sending data to a view, in the same manner, we have to send error messages also to the view. Let us see how can we send the data. Always it is a recommended, let me take a data array, data equal to empty array. Initially I'm taking empty. Sometimes we may have data, sometimes we may not have data. So always pass the data array to this view. You may have data, you may don't have data. That's why I'm taking an empty array, right? Here we have to send the validation rules, right? So I'm going to take an array like this. So we have to pass the data to view in terms of associative array. Validation is my key. You can take any key there, no problem. Validation equal to $this of validator is an object. This validator object is going to define the rules in our front end. You want to display any kind of rules, this validator object is going to be passed to, that I'm passing to the view in the terms of associative array. So by going to the view, you can use this validation variable to display error messages. If everything is okay, ready to save. So this is going to be ready to save. So we have to be here, right? So we can print some data also, don't worry. Let us go and let's write a success message or some message. So right now I'm not going to do anything, but simply I will display one message, ready to save. So when I have to display the ready to save, if the form is validated successfully, then I have to display ready to save. Otherwise I don't want to. I have to be in the else block. This is going to be the error message. Now, okay, we define the validation rules. If the validation rules are okay, no problem. So this is going to be get. If validation rules are not okay, all the fields, for example, can you see? Now I'm going to submit my form. Can you see? I'm going to submit the form. So I submitted. Where is the error messages? We have to display error messages, right? But you know, you send the error messages to the view. We have to access this, guys. You can go to the front end, I mean in the form, and just above the form, try to display these error messages. In this validation variable, we have, this is going to be validation. $validation is a variable we are passing from the controller. This is having a function called listErrors. listErrors is a predefined method to display all the errors at a time. We will show you later how can we display individual error messages, right? How to display all the errors also at a time. We are going to show you both here in this session. So this is going to be displayed right now. Can you see? If I refresh, I think you may have, oh, validation errors are coming. Can you see? But when should I get a validation error messages? If the form is submitted, then only I have to get the validation, right? Without submitting, I'm getting the validation errors. Is this correct one? No, we are in wrong track. So when I submit the form, on submit, we have to check form fields are empty or not. If they are empty, display the error messages. Otherwise, no need to display. That is meaningful. So, but this is displaying error messages at the time of loading the page. This is not correct, right? What I have to do, first I need to check whether the form is submitted or not. If a form is submitted, then I can validate it. If without submitting the form, how can I validate, right? Let us go to the controller, and this is what we are running, right? So here I want to write one condition, right? Whether the form is submitted or not. Here $this of request object, request request. So there is a method called get method. This get method is going to return post is equal to post. If this method current request, this is going to return the current request. Actually, I didn't discuss the request object, don't worry. This request object is also available in our controller, base controller class. How this validate method is available in the base controller, in the same manner this is also available in our base controller class. Directly we can access them. We don't want to include any library here, does not require. They are automatically loaded into controller. So base controller, that we can do directly. So if the form submitted, okay, I mean, if the form methods, if form submitted, the request method is going to be post equal to post, then we have to get it. This is the meaningful manner always. So now can you see, earlier the error messages are displayed on the fly when you load the page. Now I'm refreshing. Are you getting error messages? I'm having some error. We have to check the error. What is the error message we are having? So please go through your view and check this. What is the error we are going to? Go to log file immediately and check the error with today's date. So I have opened the log file. Can you see it is going to give you an error, undefined function, right? Call to a member function, list of errors in the view page where we written this in the view. You can go to your view and let us check what is the problem. See, this validation errors we just kept into condition, right? We have to write always one condition. If this is defined, we have to bring them, guys. So always, sometimes, see, now form is not submitted, so we don't have any errors because we written into the condition, right? So always we have to check a condition, php if is set $validations. If these validations are defined, so whatever the variable you are getting, whatever the variable you are passing, validation, okay, you are passing validation, right? Just pass the validation. So if this is set with rules, okay, we can get it. So let us write end if here. This is going to be end if. Done. So now we can write this here. So it is going to be work perfectly. So earlier we have error, right? Now we don't have any error. This is going to be proper, guys. Now you can check it, right? Earlier we have some error. Now can you see, we cannot see the error now. Can you see? Now very happy. Now let us submit the form. Can you see? You are going to get the errors. Now I'm not getting the errors. What is the problem here? Validation of list errors. So we are going to list all the errors here. Just above the form, if is set $validation. Let me check what is the variable we are passing here. Validation we are passing, but it is not displaying the validation rules. Validator object is going to be available inside of it. Let me check it. The problem is here, the post should be small letters, guys. Let us make it into small letter. Request method is going to be come with small letters only. So now you can submit this now. I think so. You can see the validation errors. Yeah, we are getting the validation errors, but all the errors we are getting on the top of the page, right? So if you want to get, you can get the individual errors also. For example, let me enter some name of the fields I've entered, right? Let me enter some email ID also I entered. I'm not having mobile number. Let me submit this. Now can you see this email field, the mobile field is required. But where is the username, email data? You already entered, right? That is valid data, but that was escaped. So we have to repopulate the data. To repopulate the data, we have to go to the view. We have a method in our form helper that is called set value. So value equal to, here we are just going to write this as a set value. This is going to keep the entered value. So earlier the value was escaped, right? Now it is going to be available there, username, right? Perfect. In the same manner, we have to go for email, copy paste simply. Copy the same here and keep it as a email. So now we are going to get the repopulated values. This is called repopulation. Once the form is submitted, the values are escaping, right? We have to keep the values inside the box. Now that's it. Now can you check it? Earlier form data was submitted. Now you can go and check it, right? I'm submitting the data. Can you see? Error is there. Okay, perfect. Now can you see it is not going to the values are not escaped, guys. Now you can enter some data. Now you can submit this, all the data you entered. Now you are going to echo message ready to save. You are getting ready to save. When you are getting ready to save, after entering all the data valid. So what are the rules you defined? The rules are just very simple rules you defined. So email, required, all are required fields only. Now I am going to use one more rule here. For defining another rule, we have to use the pipe symbol. This is going to be valid underscore email. So valid underscore email is also a predefined rule which is given in the user manual. Just to go through the manual, we can check what are the rules and what the rules list is available to validate the form fields. So this is going to be done. Now let us enter the data. I'm going to display the message. Let me enter some wrong mail ID and let me enter some mobile number. Can you submit this? Now can you see the email field must contain valid email address. Whatever the email ID I have entered, that is invalid. So earlier we entered all the fields. Okay, now I entered all the fields, but the email is invalid. Now you can enter valid email ID and you can submit this. Yes, data was submitted and this is ready to save. In the same manner, I want to validate mobile number also. Mobile number should be numeric. So the rule is going to be, this is exactly, we can write numeric, 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 and this is going to be exact, exact, length. We have a rule, guys, in our rule reference, exact length 10, exactly 10 digits, and that should be numeric. So sometimes people may enter 5 characters and 5 numbers. That is not going to allow. That is not alphanumeric. This is going to be exactly numeric, of length exactly 10, and it is going to be a required field. So this is how we can define the rules. So for more rules, you can go through the manual. You can check the rule reference and available rules. A lot of rules was introduced in CodeIgniter 4. In CodeIgniter 3, we have limited set of rules, but whereas in CI4, we have a lot of rules, including file validations also. But in CodeIgniter 3, to validate the files, we have to go for separate library that is called upload library to validate the files and all. But in CodeIgniter 4, we have included everything into validation library. We can check them. Just go through the manual so you will understand. But anyhow, we are going to discuss all the rules slowly, not all at a time. Right. So this is how we can define the validation rules. Now, the thing is here, I am displaying all the errors, but I want to display errors individually. How can we display all the errors individually? Now, can you see these are displaying on the top of the page? Now, I want to display errors individually. To display the errors individually, we have a function in our manual. So that is nothing but hasError, getError. Let me write the function here. If validation, this is the validation object of hasError. In this hasError, we have to pass name of the input field. So username hasError, print it, right? This is going to be end if, right? So here we are going to get the message. We have to print the message. This is going to be open PHP. So we have to echo it, right? Just we can use alternative echo statement. So $validation of getError. GetError is a predefined method. Just pass the input field name here, username. That's it. This is also going to display the error message. But I think this is going to give you error, I believe. Why? Because we have to check the condition. So whether the validation rules are there or not, we have to check the condition, right? Whatever the condition you check it here, the same condition we have to check here also, right? The same condition is required, guys. So this is going to be end if. This is going to be one more end if we can write. That's enough. Now can you see this is going to be no error, I think. So earlier, whenever you are using this validation library, we have to check it first of all. So the validation rules was available here or not. I mean, this validator object is available. Whatever the validator object this is, it is going to render the errors into the front end. This is available. Okay, we can display it. All the methods hasError, getError or listErrors are available into this validator object. This validator object is going to be important thing. This is going to display the errors into the front end. But it is difficult, right? So if it is one field, very small form, no problem. But if you are having a very big form, and how can you display the individual errors? Anyhow, let me submit the form. Let me see whether I am getting individual errors or not. I am submitting. So can you see I am getting individual error as well as all errors. I don't want all the errors. Then you can write this into HTML comment. This is all HTML, right? So I mean PHP, but this was in, so we can use HTML comment. Now it is going to be submitted. We are not going to get the form data. Why it is not getting the form data? I think form tag should be available. This is only we have to comment. Right now, can you see now? Now I'm going to submit the form. Let it be load and submitted. So still, yes, I have error message. The username, this is individual error message. But if the form is very small, no problem. So we can write like this. But when the form is very big, so you have to validate 30-40 fields and you have to display all individual error messages, then it is going to be very complex. The view is going to look like very complex. Let us make this code very sharper. For this, what I am going to do, I am going to create a helper. So already, let us create a small function. So for this, I'm going to extend the form helper. Let us see. I'm going to create a new helper. That is nothing but I'm not creating new helper, actually existing helper, form underscore helper, helper, form helper.php. Already we have form helper. I'm extending this helper by adding a separate function. This is going to be a function display underscore error. For displaying individual error messages, I'm writing this, guys. So it is always good practice. Don't make the view complex. That's why to this I have to pass, one is validation object, one more is the field. Each and every field, what is the field you want to validate, that field you can pass to it, guys. This is exactly the logic we are going to write. But here this form should send all this data, whatever the data we are having. Now I'm removing this, whatever the logic you written, I removed completely. Just simply I'm going to take a span tag here, span tag. In this I'm going to write the function display underscore error, ERR over error. But for this function you have to pass two parameters. What is the parameters? We have $validation comma name of the input field. We have to pass these. So that is the field name. Exactly, we are passing two parameters. So this first parameter in the helper, the first parameter is going to hold the validator object. This is going to the name of the input field. So, and here we have to write one condition, if is set. First, whatever the logic you written in the view, that I am going to write into the helper function, $validation. So this is the validation. If it is okay, then if one more condition, $validation of hasError, we have to check this also, hasError of $field. What is the field? Name of the input field. So that is going to be username or email or mobile, whatever it may be, right? So we have to return the error message, return $validation of getError, get ERR over error of the field. We have to pass a $field field. I am passing dynamically. If there is no error, we are going to return simply false, return false or return empty, whatever it may be, you can do. This is what exactly. Now can you see? So we don't have any problem now. Our view is very simple to look. Can you see? Earlier we written a complex logic. That is okay, but when we have to think about, if your form is complex, if your form is very big, then we have to display individual error messages, then it will take clumsy, it will make us very hard to see the form. That's why I written it. Let me load the page and let me submit it now. Can you see we are having the message? In the same manner, what I will do, so here if you want, you can display a class also. For this, just I'm going to take a class equal to text danger, CSS class. Just I'm going to write a text danger. Yes, just to define this class into the view. So this is, you can go to the style, text danger, color is going to be red. That's it. Right, can you see now the errors are going to be in the red color. On submit, error is in the red color, the username field is required. In the same manner, so I want to validate my email ID. So now copy the same line, that's enough. We don't want to do validation, just change the name of the input field, that's enough guys. Now in the same manner, this is how we can make our view very cleaner. So don't make the view clumsy, so this is going to be tough to us later. So for better understanding, I written this method. Now can you see, if we can submit, all 3 individual error messages are going to be displayed on side by side, right? So this is how we can. Now let me enter valid data here. So each and everything I'm going to enter some email ID, but mobile number I'm entering, so 5 digits, 5 characters. Now let me submit this. This is going to give you an error. The mobile field contain only numbers, right? In the same manner, enter the valid data. Everything is okay. Now they are going to be displayed individually. This is perfect. The form validation is. Now we are going to validate valid data. Everything is valid now. I'm going to submit it. Now can you see, form data was submitted. It is ready to save. All the data you entered is valid. Now here one more thing. This is all about displaying individual error messages. That's okay. Very happy. So this is going to be clear, right? Right. The next thing is going to be here. I have to customize the error messages. See, generally, what are the error messages we are getting? This is giving you some predefined kind of messages. The username field is required, the email field is required, the mobile field is required. This is the messages which are coming from framework. I want to customize my own errors. So I want to customize the errors. What are the errors we are displaying there? We have to customize them. To customize them, we have to define the validation rules, guys. Go to your users controller. This is the way of defining validation rules, right? So we can define validation rules in some other way to define the custom rules. Let us go, and I'm going to comment this validation rules. All of you check it. This is going to be easy thing. So if you just watch one validation, so you will understand the remaining validations also. I'm just commenting this. Let me copy this. The validation rules, this is required, right? Here we have to take an array, guys. This is going to be an array. All of you check this carefully. This is going to be an array. Inside this array, we have to use an associative array called rules associative array. What are the rules you want to apply on the username input field? This is going to be required. Sorry, REQUIRED. This is going to be required. You want to take any other? Yes, you can take any other, no problem. And what are the error messages, comma? This is going to be the errors, ERRORS, errors. What is the message you want to define for this? All of you check it. This is also again an associative array. All of you, this is an array. Here, whatever the rule you define, this is the rule, right? For this rule, what is the message you want to display? So this is going to be required. Here we can just write the validation message, right? So just username required. I'm writing a message, username REQUIRED. That's it. This is the message. Now can you see? Now earlier the username field is required. Now if we can submit the form, can you see username is required? This is our own message. In the same manner, I want to display email also and remove these validation rules here. Now take an associative array. This contain first parameter is going to be rule, RULS, rules. What are the rules you want to apply? These are the rules I want to apply on the input field. For these rules, what are the error messages you want to apply? Go to errors. This is going to be an associative array again. So this associative array should contain the validation rules. This is the key. For this key, what is the rule you want to, what is the message you want to display? This is going to be email required. Just I'm writing email REQUIRED. That's it. Now next rule is there, right? What is the next rule we have? Valid underscore email. This is going to be valid underscore email. You can write a message is going to be, please enter valid email ID. Simply I'm writing a message, enter valid email. That's it. This is the message. Now can you see? This is going to display the error messages properly. So username, email, perfect. Let me enter mobile number. Let me enter wrong mail ID. So for the validation purpose, I'm going to enter, check this. Now can you see the error is going to be enter valid email ID. But framework is giving some other messages. What we are doing, we are overriding with our own custom messages. This is how we can define them, guys, right? Now enter the valid data here. So you can take @mail.com or such a dummy mail ID and submit this. Now everything is okay, ready to save, right? In the same manner, you want to validate mobile number also. Yes, I think you got the point, right? How can we validate then mobile number? Can you see this mobile number I want to do in a different validation? All of you check it carefully. This is also going to be an array. This array should contain rules. What are the rules you want to apply on mobile number? These are the rules I want to apply on the mobile number. For these rules, what are the error messages we want to display? Errors. This is going to be an associative array. Here, first rule required, required. Required. For this required, what is the rule you want to apply? Enter mobile number. That is the message. Second one, numeric. 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 Can you see here I'm using one pseudo variable or some human names. The framework is conventioning them human names. Can you see here? Value SHOULE should be numbers. Right? Value should be numbers. What is the value? You know, whatever the value you are entering, that value should be numbers, or else you can write mobile, whatever the mobile number, see, whatever the value you are entering in the text box, that value will hold this variable, right? So we can write like this also. This is the predefined, exactly how to pass value there. For exact length, can you see how I'm going to write this? EXACT, exact underscore LENGTH, exact length. This is going to be the rule for this mobile value, value, SHOULE should contains, CONTAINS should contains, EXACTLY exactly, param, 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 digits. The parameter you are passing to this, right, that will come automatically into this param variable. Now it is going to display 10 digits, DIGITS digits. Can you see how these are validations are going to work? How these pseudo variables are human names. That is the word they used in the manual. I'm thinking this is a we can use a word called pseudo variable or human words, whatever it may be. Right now, can you go and check it now? And now let us submit this. So all are perfect. So let us enter some data. Now here I'm entering 1 2 3 4 5 some QWERT, something like 10 exactly. Now can you see mobile 1 2 3 4 QWERT should be numbers. Did you see the value? Whatever the value you entered, that value was carried into the validation rule. This is the pseudo variable we can apply if you want. Now okay, let me enter 10 digits. Now I'm going to enter this exactly 10 digits, 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3, such a manner I entered. Let me submit this now. Can you see mobile number, this is I entered, should contain exactly 10 digits. What are the value you entered here? The parameter, can you see the parameter exactly that is coming? 10 digits is coming automatically there. So what is that? Is nothing but how we can use validation rules. How can we define the custom validations on our input form fields? This is all about our form validations, guys. Right? So this is how we can define our own rules, right? So these are the rules and regulations we are going to follow in the upcoming sessions. Nothing but I want to create a login form, I want to create a registration form, and next I want to create a contact form, and how can we save the data into database, and all we are going to see. In those, definitely we are going to use this kind of validations. We have a lot of validation rules, guys. Just to go through the manual. So CodeIgniter.com. So go to CodeIgniter.com. Quickly jump to libraries. In the libraries we have form validation, lost library. If you can go to the bottom, we can find the rule reference at the end of it. I think so, completely end. If you can go, these are the rules, guys. We have a lot of rules was defined in the framework. For every rule they will define an example also at the end of it. Can you see? This is how they will define the examples, guys. You can check this, how to apply these and all. If you can move bit down, they will show examples also here. Greater, exact length. Did you see? I use it here. Exact length 5. What is the exact length? 5, 8, 12. I mean, we can enter either 8, either 5, either 12. It is other than, it is not going to accept. Like this, we have a lot of rules and regulations. Just gone through these rules and regulations so that you will get some clarity, guys. How exactly the validations are going to be work. This is all about our form validations, guys. If you have any doubts, please comment in the video section. Thank you all, and don't forget, please subscribe our GoPHP channel. Thank you all.